promises. See, prophecy is prophecy. If God said 400 years was going to pass. I don't care what you said or do. It was going to happen within a 400-year span in order for the prophecy to be fulfilled. So that has taken place. So now we come to this generation that is being confronted now with, okay, if we are the seed of Abraham, how do we get delivered from this bondage? And it's a legitimate question. How do you get delivered from that bondage? How do we get delivered? How do we turn this thing around to say, hey, listen, truly God is with us? How do we know? Because he's fulfilling his word. So we look at America today and we say America is in a pretty bad state. America is in these are very dangerous times for America and Americans. Let me repeat that. These are very dangerous times for America and Americans. There's a lot of things going on. America has offended a lot of people. Americans has offended a lot of people, a lot of races, a lot of nations. People are offended. And so you have enemies, and you can't ask how you got them or why you got them. You know what you did. I mean, so how does the seed of Abraham, how does the seed of Abraham play into this mess that you've created? And how do we escape the dangers that you've created for yourself while afflicting us? What position should we take? Should we stand by and watch? Or should we actively be involved in the total salvation of America? Well, I suggest that we be involved in the salvation of America because we live here. And we're not just going to get up and give you this good land that God has blessed. No, that's not how it works. No, 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 no. We're going to get our fair share. I'm just telling you what we're going to do. We're going to get our fair share. And then we're going to enjoy this land of milk and honey like everybody else. Why? Because God said so. Honey, if you go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 17, and I believe, no, chapter 26, I'm sorry, we're not doing 17. 17, 18 talks about stuff that we will get into another time in terms of morality and the reasons why judgment comes upon nations that forget God and how they are turned into hell.
26.
Okay, so you can start at chapter 26, I believe is verse 3, 2, 3. What does it say in verse 3?
If you walk in my statutes.
If you walk in my statutes. Okay, read that for me.
If you walk in my statutes
If you walk
and
in my
keep my
statutes and keep my commandments
and do them, then I will give you rain in due season.
Then I'm going to give you rain in due season.
And the land shall yield her increase.
And the land shall yield her increase.
And the trees of the field shall yield their fruit.
Uh-huh.
And your threshing shall reach into the vintage,
Mm-hmm.
and the vintage shall reach into the soaring time.
Mm-hmm.
And ye shall eat your bread to
Mm-hmm.
the full and dwell in your land safely. And I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land.
Read.
And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword.
Mm-hmm. And you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. Now look at the situation that is coming upon this nation. All right. There's really not much peace in this land. This land is fixing like that volcano. I mean, condolences and my word of encouragement to the people of St. Vincent who are going through some very critical and dangerous times right now with that volcano. I pray God keep you safe. Flee from the danger. Remove yourself if you have to. Don't be, it's a dangerous situation. And I'm hoping that the nations of the world would look in and offer whatever rescue and help that you need. And may God bless you and keep you in this dark hour. But as that volcano is erupting, so is also a rumbling in the social fabric of these United States. There's a rumbling and a discontent because people are tired of the status quo. And everybody know a change is coming. And a violent change is not what you want, but it's a change that has its eventualities because God said he's going to judge the nation. Now, who he is going to use to judge the nation by, that's in the hands and the minds and the will of God. It's also in my book that I wrote, the second book, that you should take some time and check out. It's also a part of this first book here, Christ's second coming, a message to the, I don't know if you could see it properly, but Christ's second coming, a message to the nation, to the church. And it's important that we understand that prophecy will be fulfilled. Now, this eruption, this rumbling, here's an opportunity. This is this is my suggestion, the opportunity for now the church to intervene as a mighty wall of shelter and protection, reaching out for the poor, the oppressed, and the people who have been suppressed. Yes, through the love of the people of God in the church, we can make sure that the rights of all of American citizens are restored. Now we talk about what is it? 5 shall chase 1,000.
And 5 of you shall chase 100.
Five shall chase 100.
And 100 of you shall put 10,000
And
to flight.
100 shall put 10,000 to flight.
And your enemy shall fall before you by the sword.
And your enemy shall fall before you by the sword. Now, this is why it's so important that we as a people come back to the law of God so that first of all, we can establish this among us so that we won't have all this killing in our communities, so that we won't have the wild beasts coming in and chasing us and destroying us, so that we won't have all these tragedies. Because see, it's time that we begin to see 1,000 fall at our hand, at our right hand, at our side, and 10,000 at our right hand. It's time that we begin to see the scriptures fulfilling us when we realize that truly we are the seed of Abraham. And the law that was, and the covenants that God made with Abraham include not only the covenant of circumcision, but also the covenant of the law with Moses. And then the law with Christ. But let's go back first to the law with Moses, because there are promises that are written in the law that we ignore and refuse to follow. And there are consequences that, if we look upon our state, those consequences are a direct result of not obeying God's law. The law is the law. And so we need to bring people back to the understanding of the benefits of keeping God's law, because that therein lies our protection. When we obey his commandments, now he takes over and he starts fighting on our behalf. When we do contrary, like it says in Leviticus chapter 17 and 18, we see that he said those nations that forget his commandments and do those things that are not pleasing in his sight, he said he's going to uproot them and destroy them. We don't have to be a part of the nation's desire to be destroyed. That's between them and God. I'm talking to the seed of Abraham. I'm talking to the seed of Jacob. I'm talking to the people of God. I'm talking to the church. Let us reverse this thing and become an active force in changing and bringing and correcting the wrongs that has been continued for 400 years. Let us become an active force in saving this nation for God. And we as a people, let us first become an active force in showing that our unity and our coming forth with great substance involve us actually participating in the action of making it happen. No, it's, you know, we're not waiting for them to give us something. No, we're suing them legally so that legally is well documented. This is what we've earned, and this is what you paid us for. We're not asking you to put our hands out. We're just telling you, hey, we just take you to court. And since the Supreme Court is made up of conservatives and I believe in Christian brethren and sisterin, that they would stand for the truth. The truth is you need to pay, we need to be paid. Just pay the people. I mean, that's just real without going to the extreme of violence. Now, the violent is going to be dealt with. And because I wrote a book on spirits and their role in prophecy, it's important that I also mention. Don't you think for 1 minute that those tormentors are not tormenting those people who feel that it's okay to just go kill people, just kill them because they're black, kill them because they are unarmed, just go around like a whatever, however you want to describe yourself, which to me you're just a murderer. But God has taken away his peace from you. There is no peace for the wicked. I know that. I know that you're having nightmares. I know that you're waking up in cold sweat. I know that you don't have peace. Yeah, you might be glorified among your friends, but at night, when them spirits start tracking you and tormenting you, I know you don't have peace because we're talking about spiritual engagements. We're talking about spiritual warfare. We're talking about things coming against your mind. God has taken away his peace. So I'm not worried about those of you who hate people because of their skin color. Oh, lift up yourself in pride. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. America fixing to fall because of its pride and its haughtiness. But it will not be delivered into the hands of the wicked because the righteous is going to secure this nation.